Good morning and good morning. Hope all is well. Let's jump right in to our business for today. The Dow futures is down only slightly 0.03%. S&P futures is up 0.06%. NASDAQ futures is down, is up 0.10%. The European was mixed. I will only mention the one that was down, which is FTSE Milano down 1.31%. Everything else was up. European markets start the week slightly higher. All of Asia was up, with Nikkei being up the most, 0.73%. China market leads gains in Asia as it extends 8-month highs after holding key lending rates steady. Wow. So for the U.S. right now, Russell 2K is down slightly, 0.03%. The VIX is up 2.09%. It is at 12.24. So that is what's happening with that. Let's take a look at the Forex Factory and investing.com. Forex Factory, we have 7:30 FOMC member Bostic speaks. Today is just all speakers. 8:45, Bostic is speaking. Orange folder, one orange folder is member Waller is speaking. That's at 9 o'clock. Barr is speaking at 9 o'clock as well. 10:30, FOMC member Jefferson speaks. And then at 2 o'clock, Mester speaks. In terms of investing.com, we have the two stars over here for Bostic speaking. That's 8:45. 9 o'clock, we have 2 stars for Barr speaking. Waller speaking over here at 9 o'clock is 2 stars. 1 star for Governor Jefferson. And then that's at 10:30. At 11:30, there's a 3-month bill auction and the 6-month bill auction, both 1 stars. And then at 7 o'clock, we have FOMC member Bostic speaking. And that is 2 stars, but the market will be closed. So we do not have to deal with that. For Adam Mancini's numbers, last week, SPX put in a rare 10 green day in a row stretch before a late week micro dip. 52.85 had to be claimed on Friday to trigger longs to 5,300 and higher, as posted 2 p.m. and played out. The plan today, 52.82, 53.13, post rally chop range with 52.88 mid pivot. If it keeps 53.13 to 16, 53.30 is live direct. So let's go to our chart here and go to SPX. And we will remove this study. Pull this over. Might as well. I'm usually looking at the 15-minute chart, so we'll leave that as is. And we'll go 52.88. And that is the bell. Let's go 52.88. Definitely red. And actually, probably should make this more red. So stand out a little bit. We'll just call that mid pivot. Courtesy of. All right. So what we'll do for today's call is we will hit all of our normal morning information, because there's a lot of people who come just for the morning information, and then some people come for the charting as well. So on Mondays and Wednesdays, I'll just move the charting to the second half so that people can get the information that they want for the upfront portion. All right. So we've done Mancini. So here the lowest numbers is 52.82, 52.13, which is where you want to be looking. So we'll see what happens, man. 52.82 is the bottom number. 53.13 might be a top number to start investigating. So we'll see. Right. Take this off and this off. And let us go to. There were some suggestions placed yesterday for option seller trade ideas. This is the list. If you're in our Telegram group, you already are probably familiar with this list. This is not investment advice at all. It says it right down here, not financial advice. However, there are possible opportunities on this list. And so there's put credit spreads, call credit spreads, and iron condor opportunities that may be possible. So some of these you may be familiar with. Amazon, I think that's Bank of America, BP for oil, CT or Citi for finance. You got DraftKings, Dow, which is different from the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Divine is gas. I forgot what FCX was. I thought that was transportation. GM, Google, KR, I think it's Kroger. MS on is semiconductor. Oracle is in the tech space. Pins, is that Duo maybe? RCL should be Royal Cruise Line. Don't know what SE is, but TJX probably Target. TSM is Taiwan Semiconductor. TSN, no idea. TTD, the Trade Desk. UAL, WDC, and WFC, I believe. I think WDC might be Western Digital. WFC may be Wells Fargo. So those for the put credit spreads. Then you got the calls. I won't go through all of them, but the ones that I recognize are Dash, DD, OG is Datadog, MGM, Norwegian Cruise Line. I recognize Starbucks, Square, Wynn, and Exxon is in the oil space. So what's interesting about this is that the call credit spreads for XOM, that's in the oil space, and there's a call credit spread for that. But its competitor, I believe DVN is a competitor of theirs, and they're in the put credit spread, possibly maybe on the rise. So that's pretty interesting. For iron condors, Occidental, not Oxycontin, and then Verizon as a credit spread. Also, Oxy is in the same space. And when I say competitor, it may not be a direct competitor, but they're in the same space. Oxy and Exxon, they're both in the same space as well. So for this to be iron condor, for this one, while one of the other ones might be moving down, when that one is, moving up, vice versa. That's an interesting play there. But these are a mixture of 50-cent spread, or should I say 0.5 spread, one spreads, and a couple, I think, 2.5 spreads with Google. So we have that to go on. We have Sim May that started May 1st. It is running through the end of May, where we are taking a strategy you want to learn and test and run it all of May. No real money until June if it's proven to work. For me, it's been focusing on call credit spreads, and that's been the majority of what I've been doing. All right. So we can walk through here and look at a couple of these, but I want to make sure anybody who's on the call who wants something charted, please drop that in the chat box now. Good morning, Janae. Here's to a great trading week. I agree. Sizzline, hello, good morning. Tamar, hello, good morning. Karen C, Lady T, Ward, and Nori. Good morning, and hope you all Hope all of you had a great weekend. All right. Let's jump into show name on the right for the mid pivot. And so what we'll do real quick is we will mark this as our 15-minute. So some of us may stay till the 15-minute breakout. So we'll see how that plays out going in that direction. Good morning, Sandrika. And she says shop. All right. It's going to be Shopify. So Shopify. All right. Let's go to 15-minute for Russell as well. I have to give it some time. Usually they'll start showing you a little bit more information. This is Russell 2000. And I trade that like I do. Well, I don't trade SPX, but chart it like I trade SPX. Let's go to shop. All right, let's check out shop. We're gonna start with we can start with the weekly. We can look and see what direction it is trending. Clear drawing set. All right. So here's what we got. This is we just had a long bearish candle happening on the weekly. So this is definitely on a downtrend, and it looks to me this might be considered this might look like it's trying to break down. Probably can do this on here. Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. So let's go with let's see what we come up with for this. So I'm putting this line right here. Bounce, 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 bounce. So we'll consider this a trend line. This has went from basically narrow here to opening up pretty wide, meaning almost the reverse of that we see a lot of the chart patterns. Usually it'll be really wide and it'll narrow. This is like going the opposite direction. So but we see that there's support right there. So we are going to, since that's what's happening on the weekly, I will point out what looks to me. I don't like the way the zone looks, but this would be the only the closest seller zone would be right in here, but it looks kind of, this is the choppy, even though he was referring to like SPX and ES. This is still, all this up in here is still choppy. So this is a good example of it where you can't find any actual strong formations. That's what that rings to me. But I will say, let's assume this trend line is correct. Then that would mean that this is a little bit of a breakout for this weekly, and that this may be trying to retest and head its way down on the weekly chart. So we'll see how that this is just the Fibonacci retracement. So it looks like it has went past 61%. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it stays on this side on the weekly chart. All right. So let's see what the daily got to say. Ooh, that explains that drop. That explains why that candle was so long. Man, talk about falling off. So we're going to chart this like so. And we'll do it this way. Leg in base and then gap down. The leg out. Obviously, that also means right here we have a candle. I'm sorry, we have a gap. Just gap down. So here's our gap. And I'm going to put it here. Okay. I won't mark it, but keep in mind that this turnaround right here, this ends up being a level on its own. Normally, I guess I can't mark it since I'm not going to be posting this anywhere, but normally I will mark it like that because I would imagine that in the past this has been a turning point of some sort, like right here. So price came up through here. So this was the most recent retest of this, and this even came down into that zone and got rejected. So this is a price point worth paying attention to when it comes back up this way, because that's going to be all of this is a seller's gap because sellers pushed it down. So this retest in here, you know, it's going to have to push its way through there, but this might be a level that it could bounce off of. And now that we're looking at this, I don't know how many people are into chart patterns, but because of the way this gap down, what this looks like to me is a possible reverse head and shoulders forming. I'm not saying that's what it is, but it wouldn't surprise me if shop ends up, you know, coming back this way, even if it gaps up and then comes back down and then starts heading up eventually. But as of right now, in terms of what we're seeing, I don't see a clear buyer zone. I see a seller zone. I don't see a clear buyer zone at that level. So I would come down some more. And there's another gap down here. Oh, I must say, what was happening with this shop? Ain't nobody shopping? All right, so the only clear, at least on the daily chart, the only clear buyer zone would be down here. I can't even say it's clear, but you know, if you want to use this strong leg out, zoom this in. A couple different ways to do it, but if you wanted to use this strong leg out, then you'll put all of these in the base. That's a lot of them in the base. I do know people who will chart it this way, and I wouldn't chart it that way, but I know some people who would. So leg in, two in the base, leg out. But for me, I'm okay with putting all these in the base. It'll ding the odds enhancers if you understand that vernacular. But I like the stronger leg out on that. I do not think this is a leg in, so I would not put this in the chair myself. But I have seen that done as well. So I'll be just putting all four of those in there. Besides that, For the daily chart, I would just say I see a clear seller zone. What I would be doing here is looking at the weekly, and the closest thing on the weekly would be down here. That's not really what you would call a traditional formation, but it is something. And then the other thing I would do is look at the 4 hour, because sometimes the 4 hour will hook you up with something. Not always, but if I don't see anything, that looks tradable, I wouldn't even worry about wrestling with it. If I'm trying to go level to level. Here's what I see right down here. This is a chair formation in the buyer zone. So lighten it up for you. So mind you, it's I'm gonna put it just above that. So this is the leg in, there's two in the base and a leg out. So let's see how this is looking on the daily. Hopefully it'll be in a good enough spot. It may not be, but I don't even see it. Okay. So they put it down here where I was. Okay. So it ends up going down here in this same area. So on the 4 hour chart, it literally just put a chunk of it down here. So you can use these lighter lines, this would be $50 to about $1. It's only, they must not do a lot of moving. It's not as volatile. But right now, because of the way it's gapped down, $50 is the next drop. So it looks like it's trying to push its way back up. But this is another one of those that we're sellers. So if you're looking to this, it's probably not going to be what we like to see for premiums, but we'll check and see. So I'm seeing about if we take 58.77 minus 2.6, 58.77 is current price minus 2.6, which is the volatility. That's 56.17. So you'll be down here. You want to get outside of that or below it in this case. This is a one spread, so I don't even think this is going to be 10 cents. I don't even know if that's going to be 10 cents, 8 cents. You can always increase the price and do it that way. Collect 10 cents. That's 10% of the spread. The spread in this case is the difference between these two numbers, both legs, which is 1. 56 minus 55 is 1 times 100, because there's 100 shares in every contract. So in this case, the collateral that they would freeze would be $100. So if you want to go that route and put that in there, see what happens. I'm going to do YouTube AM. I don't have a problem putting it in. It's in the same account, so nobody panic. This is 80%, so we can do the same thing. 58.64. It keeps bouncing around. Minus 2.6. 56.06. So 50s. Did I do that right? I think I did that wrong. 58.7 plus 2.6. 2.6. I'm going to say 58.6. 61.2. So you can either do 61, which is 80% out of the money, or you can go here to 62. It's 80%, so I would be Okay, with that. So that's 14 cents. All right. We're going to do that. All right. No problem, Sandrika. No problem. We'll see if it accepts. It may or may not. Okay, dokie. Johnny Goodwin is asking, he's saying he's looking for new companies to trade. Does anyone have any favorites that you're making consistent gains? He is not asking for investment advice, people. So don't assume you're giving some because he's not asking. He's asking for your favorites. Johnny, I will actually, let's see. These are the ones that I watch. And this doesn't mean that I trade all of them all the time, but these are the ones that I do pay attention to. I don't know if there's a way for me to screenshot that and send it to you. But so I'm usually looking at Russell 2000, but occasionally I've looked at Mara, which is them and Coin is in the same crypto space. TQQQ is based off of Triple Q, which is these. So these two go together. I got Shop in here because I've traded that before. Oracle, Netflix, CLSK is in the same space as Coin. Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, Walgreens Boot Alliance. I have traded before, but I feel like Walgreens Boot Alliance is, you know, for my taste, it's more so for buy and hold personally. But XSP traded that before. Exxon, XLE, Carvana. I've traded Hood, Dollar Tree, and Elf. I would say most recently, if I was like gonna say, give me, you know, if I was gonna do like off this list, what I probably like the most, seems like Elf, Carvana. I would even say Microsoft, Netflix, and Coin are the ones that, and Rut. Those are the ones that I would say for me, I like those the most. So those are the ones I kind of gravitate towards. I do check Oracle and Netflix. But yeah, Elf has been pretty good. And so has Carvana. Now, keep in mind though, anything dealing with Bitcoin or anything dealing with crypto can possibly be impacted by what happens with Bitcoin. So that's why I really don't mess with all these other ones regularly. Like Coin seems to be the most, I guess you could say, consistent in that space. But CLSK, I have like I said, traded that before. Mara have traded that before. CLSK and Mara show up on barchart.com. So we were doing cash secured puts on those. So that's the only reason why I really have even heard of those. So that would be my answer. So if anybody else has any suggestions or shall I say any favorites they'd like to share, please drop those in the box. We are going to swing back around to SPX and see what we got going on. What this mark right here is, I think I was put this in here because I was waiting to see when it would come down to fill where it closed at some point in the past. So that's what that line is for. So this is what's happening right now. This is the kind of candle you really want. It's the 10 o'clock turnaround is about to jump on in right now. So 10 o'clock turnaround is many times where we'll see it'll be moving in one direction and then it'll start moving in a different direction. So what I'll be looking out for SPX for right now is whether or not, if you're trading the breakout, whether or not it's going to get up here and turn around and start heading down. So that's what I would be looking for. It may get up in this zone and then turn around. So if it makes it past that, or comes back and retests, that's cool too. I normally like to see that push out. But we'll see. Russell 2000 also has the same type of let's see what's going on here. Does anybody have problems with their charts recently? I've been having problems where like the data on my charts seems to have stopped at a particular day or time frame. It's kind of weird. Like I don't have any of the information today for Russell showing up, but I had that same problem with another ticker. Let me see. So I know sometimes people have the same. I'm not throwing them under the bus, but I know that people have had the same types of issues at the same time as I have when it came to like Think or Swim or something like that. But yeah, I have 6 o'clock. I got 6 a.m. for Russell 2000. So I don't have any newer info, and I am connected. That's weird. All right. Keep it moving. Okay, so we did shop. Anybody else? You're very welcome, Johnny. No problem. One other. So what we'll do is take a swing. Look at this is Carvana, and this is on the weekly. It looks like it's basing right here. It has been on an uptrend. What I'll be watching for is this right here. Because this is where it will be coming back down to retest at some point. This is where it turned around at. I'll definitely be watching to see what happens there. But there's a strong buyer zone right here. Right, leg in, one in the base, leg out. And this is a strong leg, even if you don't count this longer one right here. So I definitely would be looking at it like this, just in terms of just where I see it going. But yeah, it looks like it's maybe heading down. There's a gap right here. When I see companies that gap up, man, I actually I'm actually happy for them, for real, because like if you managing to gap up in these inflation filled streets, you doing something, because people is cutting back their spending, depending on what it is you're selling, I guess. But all right. So these are the marks from matter of fact, since they're so close together in color, let me just do a brighter yellow. So all I did was mark on the yellow one is the weekly, and that's just the turnaround points that I noticed on the weekly. And trying to select it by itself. Then the other one is where the gap happened, right? Jesus, what is this thing doing? There you go. All right. It's weekly. So I just want to make sure I'm acknowledging that turnaround point up here. Okay, but then we have the gap on the daily. Gap from here. So this was a buyer's gap. So that means that it may come and retap that line. No telling how many times. But then what I'll be looking at in terms of support would be right here because it turned around here before. So if there's no other support area or no other area in the past where it turned around, I'll be looking at, it's going to tap on here, but as it falls through, I'll be watching this point as a definite point of support. Okay. I don't see, I see a buyer zone right here on the daily. I don't really see a clear, that's what I'm seeing right here. But technically, if you really want to be honest about it, your buyer zone would be right here. It's in the buyer zone now, according to this chart. It's just above this, it's above this gap, but leg in, base, leg out right here. And it is revisiting that right now. And then it's also leg in, base, leg out, a seller zone. So these seller zones are close together. This is what this looks like. So it would not surprise me if something else goes down. Could be another, who knows, another pop or something in some direction. So I'm going to make this line longer. Or shall I say filled in? And we'll duplicate this one. Yep, this has been tapped a couple times there too. So on the daily, this is a zone on top of a zone. Sandwiched in. And this is the top of the gap. So like I think you could go either way in terms of what you wanted to do with sellers. So you can go above it or under it the way this is looking. You'll see what will happen if we took a look at both. So I'm guessing, whoops. I was thinking one being under here would be about 110. If you're going above it, that'll be what, 120? I guess you could say 110 and 130. That's where I will start my investigation. So we got 110. These are one spreads right now. This is 82% out the money, which is 82% chance that this trade will be profitable. This is a 79% chance. I'm cool with 80. Right? So that's 12 cents. $12 on $100 collateral. We were doing that. And let's move on up. All right. I believe I said 130 for this one. So if you said, if we added 118, even if we said 119 we can round it up to 8, 27. So 81% out the money. 13 cents. Okay. I'm okay with that. And then the other one that I will look at is ENPH because it was brought up. It's been a while. I always forget about Enphase. No offense to Enphase. I'm usually focused on tech stuff. So this is a. Please tell me y'all see this pattern, right? Like if we did something lighter. You see that? There's some kind of something. I can't normally I have the charts for the graphics for those. I'm gonna have to add them back in. So I don't have them right now. I had to rebuild my whole setup this weekend, but normally I have the list to show. Actually, let me see. Yep. Normally I have the list to show the different chart patterns so we can see which one that is, but that look like something. I don't know. And the thing is with these chart patterns, this can pop out and go up, or it can pop out and go down on these. So, but this is on the weekly. So that's definitely one I think to pay attention to, because there could be some movement coming up pretty soon on this one. The daily chart has it is on an incline, upward trend here. Downtrend, you could say recently, but overall uptrend. And to be honest with you, it looks like a channel that could be getting ready to switch up. I put mine on the wicks. My line's usually on the wicks because that's where price went. Some people will put them on the body of the candle. I'm fine either way. I think the important thing is to understand what direction price is going. To me, that's what's more important. What is price doing in this situation? So in this case, you see, like I said, upward trending. This could very well head up from here because it's bouncing off this same trend line. Is continuously bouncing off this trend line, so there's no reason why it can't continue up. This right here is also a pattern. I only recognize it because I was seeing them so much, but this north to south flag, and it has been bouncing in this channel for a while. So there's something to keep in mind. But if we were gonna, this is in the buyer zone right now. So I'll be trying to be under 107 because the buyers started pushing up. So I'll be trying to be under 107 is where I would look. And then this is a funny looking seller zone. Still got to respect it, but obviously definitely above 116. So 120 probably. So let's look at Enphase. We're gonna go 10. So we'll be down here. Now some people would jump with the 78% because I mean technically it's almost 80%. I am Chicken Little. So I'm going with a little bit of a safer out the money. So on a one spread, which is $100. This would be 15 cents or $15 for the credit. So go that route. And you know what? I should have checked to see if I had earnings. I didn't do that. It's not on my list. Right there. I got 119, and I got that from 112 with the players dwell to and adding 6, which is 118. I always try to account for that extra little dots on that round, and it's got 114. I'm sorry, got a 14 cent here, so we'll see. I get accepted. So what I do now is when my trades get accepted, I actually wait until market closes. Then I go back in and then add in my stop and my target. And the reason is because I found that I was getting stopped out quickly when I would put the bracket on right away. Now sometimes it would hit the target faster than I expected, but I was noticing that it would bounce down, hit the stop, and then go in the direction that I thought I was going to go. So I wait till after market on the day I get in, and then I put on the brackets because then I've given it a couple pushes, the morning push and then the push in the afternoon. So on the next morning push, that gives it I feel like that's enough time for it to decide what it's going to do. That's me. That's not me advising nobody to do anything. Let's go look at SPX again. And so now if you would like, so here's what's happening. This is the area that I was saying that it may turn around. And this is again, if we were like connected to this earlier and there was a reason to say, okay, this might be, heading out, and that green candle would have been a great way to get in and here somewhere, I'm sure. But I've just seen it turn around so much. But it looks like the buyers are trying to keep that at bay. So that's the way that looks right there. But of course, because of the way this formation is shaped, that next leg out could also be a down candle. Sometimes you'll see that with those. So that's one to watch. But since the buyers are trying to push that up, this SPX, since the buyers are trying to push that up, I'll be looking at being down here somewhere. Probably want to be closer to price. But I think I usually do about 80%. That's about right. Let me see. Somewhere in here. Yeah, that wouldn't be too horrible. So essentially, and what I'm thinking about is the break. If I was doing the breakout and looking at the PD for the PDT hack, I would be doing a put credit spread on the put credit spread side right now for SPX. Let's see what Russell is doing. Did I even get? Yeah, look how far behind this is. This candle right here is just now showing 715. Yeah, something's going on. Get that figured out. Johnny is asking about so somebody. Let's see. If you're doing so we'll just use this trade desk as an example, which is funny because this is when I will be closing anyway. But so I'll be buying this back for 5 cents. So that would be my take profit, right? So what you would do on Thinkorswim, if you want to do like a bracket, you could do. You can do either or first triggers OCO or first triggers all. I see people do first trigger sequence. I think the most important thing is that you choose one of the ones that's triggering something. All right. And then so this is gonna take me out at 5 cents. Which also means though that if the trade goes against me, that means this number goes higher. I gotta prepare for it going higher, right? Because I'm gonna have to buy it back at a higher amount. So what I would do here is just I would duplicate this order, and then I would put in whatever number would be the number that I would want to put in as my stop. Like where do I want to get stopped at in this case? So I will do that here, and then put good to cancel on both of them. Right. So whatever the number is, I don't even know where it is currently, but if that number was 0.10 or 0.20, either way, whatever you wanted that to be, I'll put that there and then confirm and send. So that's how I'll put that in as a bracket. And then just let it do its thing and see what's gonna happen. Does that make sense, Johnny? On Thinkorswim, you have to do it on some brokerages. You can put it in as a bracket, like Tasty Trade. It looks all cutesy and stuff, and the way they have it laid out, so it's very clear what your profit points are. 60%, 20%, like you can see it clearly. But over here, you gotta kind of break it down this way. But yeah, that's how you do it. Like you gotta do it in 2 parts. But this particular trade is now worth 5 cents. So I'm closing that regardless. Okay. All right. So I don't see any more tickers. So we're going to move on. Again, don't forget about SimMay. If you want to join, our membership is available to those who are interested in joining. You can go to educator2trader.com and be a part of our online community. We keep in contact daily through Telegram. The reason I like the group so much is because everybody is always sharing what they're learning, new information. We always end up getting some new info, things of that nature. So feel free to join our membership and be a part of our crew. We have trainings available weekly or during the week and on some weekends. So you may very well find yourself in a very tool building place. We also have startwiththechart.com if you're interested. Start in charting and learning more about charting or adding to your charting toolbox. That's a freebie, so feel free to stop by there. Charting webinar, startwiththechart.com. All right. Last but certainly not least, our listener mentioned this on yesterday's call. Her daughter was having surgery on today. So please send your positive vibes, thoughts, and prayers her way. If you're on Telegram, inbox her some love, what have you. Greatly appreciate it. All right. So our ETT daily declaration. By faith, I am a successful trader. I'm a wise and knowledgeable trader. I make smart and lucrative decisions for my portfolios. Money likes me. Dinero me encanta. Because money is comfortable around me, it is drawn to me. E2T daily prayer. Lord, give us wisdom and knowledge for our trades today. Help us to make smart and lucrative decisions for our portfolios. All righty, everybody. We want you to have a great trading day, a profitable trading day. It looks like the Dow Jones is up 0.07%. The S&P is up 0.38%. NASDAQ is up 0.70%. Russell 2K is up 0.23%. And somehow the VIX is up 12.23%. So we will see how all of this shakes out by the end of the day. Right? If nothing else, stay green, get this money, and we will hopefully talk to you all in Telegram or on tomorrow morning's call. You all have a great one.